What's the business of America? The business of America is business. What's the science of business? The science of business is warfare. So what's the art of warfare? The art of warfare is deception. What's the optimal deception? The optimal deception is to create constructs in such a way that your enemy does not know that you're their enemy. The one you're at war with doesn't know that you're at war. I want to show you how to begin to filter in understanding by asking you these simple constructs and then using those filters, using those goggles to see differently. Now, first of all, there is an Olympic style of fairness. We look at the Olympics and we see fairness. And the fairness is in the placement because the number one performer gets the number one slot. The number two performance gets the number two slots. Now, what if we did that with votes? The number one votes gets the number one slot. The number two votes gets the number two position. The number three position is available for the one who came up with the third largest vote, regardless of what party it was. Let's look at, in America, it's supposed to be based upon the Constitution, and the Federalist Papers is the brief outline for the rules of engagement, the rules of treatment, and it is simply that the majority rules. And that the second one is the majority is obligated to take care of the minority. And then the third, if the majority does anything to hinder the minority from becoming the majority, then the minority is not under the majority's rule, which is all those conditions are true when it comes to the black man. We just need to walk it out. So if those are the rules, then you have to ask yourselves, did the majority do anything to hinder the minority from becoming the majority? And of course, the first thing that they did was to limit African immigration to 0.1%. So there's a score of examples after that, but that was the first one the first thing that they came up with was to first say that America was a manifest destiny for white superiority, and then to limit the Africans was the 1-2 punch that is the evidence that the violation has occurred. Now, we talked about the Federalist Papers, the Constitution and the Federalist Papers. We talk about the fairness of the Olympians. We also need to look at just a couple more to be able to see where we should be dealing with. And I forgot to mention in the Olympics, for example, you have the wrestlers. And the wrestlers, both of them start off standing. Both of them start off standing. And then if you can take one down, you get points. If you can keep them down, you get another point. But then the second round is one of them stands and one of them kneels. One is on all fours, one is standing, trying to prevent him from getting up. And so that's the second round. And if you're able to get up, you're a point. If you're able to hold him down, that's your point. And then the third round, they switch sides, they switch positions. And so the one who was holding them down now is down and is trying to get up. And from that wrestling engagement, you understand who the winner is. And so I'm going to be asking you, is it time for the U.S. to get on all fours? In a lot of ways, I think it is time. And then we want to look at a couple other things. If we were to look at an Excel spreadsheet, those would be the ways of filtering what is happening. And now let's look at what is happening. We're, let me say, the United States is threatening war with China, Russia, and they have basically, I don't know, any non-white nations they have not had a serious engagement with, military engagement with. They have, I think, about 400, is it 400 or 40 bases all around China. Uh, the NATO agreement after World War II was that the U.S. would not encroach upon Russia, and then immediately they began doing that. You remember the Ukraine had gotten billions to do some bio research, and remember Obama went over there holding up a vial after they gave them millions and millions more. And so, right now, the Biden administration has given over $100 billion to, I think, to try to hold on to their deep assets, their under government assets. Or I think that's why, because why else would you spend $100 billion? You're protecting something you think is worth more than $100 billion. What could be worth more than $100 billion? We need to be asking ourselves that. And then we also have to we have to do an accounting of the spending and a comparison of the spending. Has Biden helped us in America like that? I think during even the pandemic, folks got what, a $600 help? But here, Biden is importing Nazis and giving them our Social Security. Now, how should you respond to that? As hard as it is for you to get it and fight for it and receive it, now they're giving it to the Ukrainians. That is just in every way wrong. And then we know that Biden had gone over there previously and threatened an investigator and prosecutor that, and then threatened the government that if they did not fire him, they wouldn't get their billions. So they fired him, and then he bragged upon it. And you probably saw that on the Council of Foreign Relations. It goes on so ridiculously that and then the last, like the most recent thing was, the fluoride issue, where they know that they've been knowing for many years that fluoride is detrimental to you, but then someone filed for a Freedom of Information request, and the Biden administration tried to stop it and lost, and what was revealed was that there's no safe limits of ingestion of fluoride, and they got it in all our municipal water supplies, in toothpaste. Dentists are literally injecting it and packing it in your gums, which is calcifying pineal glands and calcifying your frontal lobe, literally a frontal lobe lobotomy. How long are we going to be fools for that? And then we ask America's friends, how long you going to be fools? They literally bombed the Nord Stream pipeline, which was going to aid to their allies. They were getting aid to their allies, and then the U.S. threatened, Biden threatened to take it out and said it would be able to be done. It was done. And then there's a lot of hush-hush on the results, and they found, I guess Russia found some detonators that did not detonate. So that's a war crime. That's an international war crime to take out their infrastructure. But then we have to ask ourselves here, look at Palestine. My God, there's just too many examples. There is literally a mountain of genocide, a mountain of terrorism and a dark valley of poisoning the whole web of life that this administration and previous administrations have been party to. And so now that it is time for the U.S. to get on bended knee, like the wrestler time, it's time for, and it has happened. A lot of, you'll see in the media, a lot of people saying it may happen. No, it's already happened. When BRICS was developed, when Gaddafi developed the dinar to free Africans and change the dynamic and of the economic imbalance. There's been a great imbalance for over 500 years. Exploitation, which is the only thing capitalism can deliver. Capitalism is a beast that survives on exploitation. And so it went all over the world growing. And now it's time in that Olympic wrestling scenario that the U.S. is on bended knee because all the other nations are bolting from the U.S. because the U.S. has lost the oil standard. They've lost the oil standard, so no one has to go through the U.S. dollar to trade, and so that greatly weakened the U.S.'s dominance and profitability all over the earth. And so, and we all know it's a fiat currency anyway. Just read it and says this is a promissory note. It's not a payment. So we know that there are some drastic changes, and we know that people are going off grid, forming cooperatives, time barter, trading and bartering, getting ready for this the inevitable. And you know, I see Fox News talk about how they support whites maintaining the dominant one position. Well, like in the Olympics, you lost that position. You got to move your ass off number 1, 2, and 3. You got to do it now. And so they don't want to consider that. It's kind of like a zodiac. You know, zodiac spin. You know, it may be the year of Pisces, then the year of Aquarian, then the year of something else. Well, each season gives way to another. The rise and fall of nations, they give way to it. You can't stop it. And the best thing you could do is to now repair. Repenting ain't even, they say turning from your ways. I understand you a racist can't kick a racist out. A racist may have been a racist so long that their heart isn't up to anything else. Their nature doesn't lean it to any other vice or ability. And so it's necessary for us to prepare for the inevitable. And I say to Russia and China, hey, I got nothing against you. I'm for you. You feel me? I don't have a problem. You've never tried to enslave my people. You gave aid to those who were seeking to get the hands of oppressors off them. Hey, man, I can relate to that and fought for that. So I'm good with that. But the world needs to understand that we need to choose an optimal reality for humanity, and that no one nation or dictator is able to sustain an enduring suppression of a people when the people understand that the divinity is within them. They are to feed that divinity and bring out their optimal reality so that they can self-actualize and transform and transcend and create that better world. And that's just not talk, that's a choice. That's a choice. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to been down and do a few other things, but I definitely want you to link up, think up, and leverage. Get our membership with the People's Party or the United States Disabled Veterans or many of the other things that you're seeing us do. Reach out at yesanthony@yahoo.com. That's yes Anthony with some excitement. Yes Anthony at yahoo.com. And we can think up, link up, and leverage and create a better reality today, immediately. And I appreciate you listening. Take care.